Good morning. We will begin our service with the ringing of the temple bell. At this time, please silence your cell phones and listen quietly, as the sounding of the gong show is an invitation to settle our hearts and minds as we prepare to receive the Dharma. Thank you.
Namandavs, 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 namandavs.
Welcome everyone to today's Nirvana Day Service, and a special warm aloha to Bishop Clark Watanabe of the Kaiyosan Shingon Mission of Hawaii for joining us in person today as our guest speaker. Nirvana Day is an observance of Shakyamuni Buddha's Memorial Day. As explained by Reverend Blaine, Shakyamuni awakened to truth and became the Buddha at age of 35. After sharing Dharma for the next 45 years, he attained perfect enlightenment, or parinirvana, with his death at age 80. Nirvana Day is one of the three observances commemorating the life of Shakyamuni Buddha, the other two being his birthday on April 8th and his awakening on December 8th. I am Hetty Casquillo Gray, and I will serve as your MC today. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Reverend Blaine regrets that he is unable to officiate at today's service. He will attend via Zoom instead. However, we are fortunate that our Tokudo ordained minister's assistant, Linda Nagai, can conduct the service in his place. Assisting at the temple with technical support are Lynn Katayama, Joey Guzman, and Stephen Kaneko. Corinne Chong is our organist, and Betty Takioka will lead the singing. Let us start the service with offering of flowers by Elaine Nakagawa and Maki Yamaguchi. Please rise. Linda Nagai will now lead us in the Vandana and Tisarana. Let us sing both the Pali and English parts together with her. Those of you on Zoom, please be sure you have muted your mics.
Namo tassa bhagavato Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddha Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Namandos, 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 namandos.
Please remain standing as Reverend Blaine will now share an aspiration via Zoom.
Good morning, everybody. Please join me in Gassho. We gather this morning as friends in the Dharma, as fellow travelers along the journey of life. On Nirvana Day, we mark the passing of Shakyamuni Buddha into the complete and perfect peace of Parinirvana. As he lay under the twin salo trees nearing the fulfillment of his human life, he shared a final teaching with his disciples. Make of yourselves a light. Rely upon yourself. Do not depend upon anyone else. Make my teachings your light. My disciples, the teachings that I have given you are never to be forgotten or abandoned. They are always to be treasured. They are to be thought about. They are to be practiced. If you follow these teachings, you will always be happy. May we always reflect on the inescapable truth of birth, old age, sickness, and death as we embrace the impermanence of our lives with profound spiritual peace and freedom. Let us endeavor to listen to the Buddha Dharma with not just our ears, but with our entire being, and strive to embody the teachings in our thoughts through our words and by our actions. May we always take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows us the way in this life, the Dharma, the way of understanding and love, and the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Entrusting in the dynamic activity of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion, we call the honored name of Amida, the Buddha of infinite light and life, in gratitude, joy, and awareness for the enlightenment and the life to come. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense. If you wish, starting with the front rows and moving toward the back, please use both incense burners. Linda Nagai will now lead us in chanting the Sutru Sambutsuge. The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guide us to supreme enlightenment. The Sambutsuge, or hymn in praise of Buddha, is a poem from the larger Pure Land Sutra in which Amida Buddha, as Otsita Bodhisattva, praises his teacher and makes his 48 vows to establish the Pure Land of enlightenment for the welfare and happiness of all beings. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows made to awaken and liberate us all. Sambutsuge words can be found on page 47 in the red Jodo Shinsu service book and on your screen. Again, page 47.
Sambutsuge, the hymn in the praise of the Buddha. The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to supreme enlightenment. The Sambutsuge, or hymn in praise of the Buddha, is a poem from the larger Pure Land Sutra, in which Amida Buddha, as Bodhisattva Dhammakara, praises his teacher and makes 48 vows to establish the Pure Land of enlightenment for the welfare and happiness of all beings. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows made to awaken all beings. Hymn in praise of the Buddha, Sambutsuge. Kogen gi Ijimo gokunyo zenen myo muyo tosha nichigan mani shoko en yo kai shiten ompe Yunyakuju moknyorai yogen chose murin shogaku daion koru jippo kaimo shojin sanmai chie Itokumuryo Shushokeu Jintai Zennen Shobun Hokai Fujin Jinno Kugo Gaitai Mumyoro Kunyu Se sonyomu ni no shishi jintokumuryo kukun kodai chie jinmyo komyo iso shindo daisen Ganga sabungai so ho okado shoji mi fuge dan fu se joi kai ni shojin nyoze sanmai Jie-jo gose tobu zizu shigan Saikuku Isai Dayan Keshi Ubuku Hakusen no Kuman Muryo Daisho Shunyo Goja Kuyo Isai Shito Shobun Funyo Gudo Kensho Fugyaku Hinyo Go Ja 処分世界部不可け無臭鮮度光明師匠変死小国尿税精進偉人難量量が差物国土第一五種奇妙道場朝鮮国尿内音任務闘争がと愛民道断一切自法来生新年長寿東が国慶楽安穏公文神妙税が新書本願の日力少々欲実法生存知恵無下上領子孫知願信行軽量心知食読長家業精進忍術系ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブアニシクドクヨドセイサイドンモ大神お嬢あんらこナマンダーブスナマンダーブスナマンダーブスナマンダーブスナマンダーブスナマンダーブスナマンダーブスナマンダー
Please Please rise for the Gata Namo Amida Butsu. Words can be found on the handouts and on your screen.
When life is fair and sunlight gilds the day, when fortune smiles and flowers adorn our way, oft let us pause with grateful hearts to say, Namo Amida Butsu. In though our way leads 'neath a darkened sky, and to our loved ones pain and death draw nigh, our tears may flow, yet trustingly we cry, Namo Amida Butsu. When our life leads us to the other shore, and Buddha's light will see forevermore. In Nimbutsu, our grateful hearts shall soar. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. This morning, it is an honor to introduce you to our guest speaker, Bishop Clark Watanabe of the Koyasan Shingon Mission of Hawaii. Bishop Watanabe was born in Honolulu on April 10, 1969. He graduated from the University of Hawaii, Manoa, in May 1993 with a BA in religion. Through a scholarship administered by UH Manoa History Department, he attended Urasenki Gakuen Professional College of Chado Midorikai program from 1990 to 1991. He was ordained at the Kaiosan Sanboen Temple on December 10, 1994, and given the Buddhist name Zenkyu. Bishop Watanabe entered the Koyasan Senshu Gakuen Seminary in April 1995 and graduated in March 1996. In his ministerial career so far, he has served as assistant minister at the Koboji Shingon Mission in Honolulu and resident minister of the Honomu Henjoji Mission and the Hamakua Shingon Shu Kyodan Pau Ilo Kongonji Mission. In April 2016, he became the 13th bishop of the Kaiosan Shingon Mission of Hawaii. Please give a warm welcoming aloha to Bishop Clark Watanabe.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for having me on this day, the Nirvana Day Service. And as you know, the Nirvana Day Service is to mark the passing of the founder of Buddhism, or the founder of the Buddhist movement in India. As you see, in the front, we have a picture of the Shakyamuni Buddha on his deathbed. And a lot of times when people see either a statue or a picture of it, it goes, oh, Sensei, the Buddha is sleeping in that picture. Yeah? How come the Buddha is sleeping and our Buddha is standing or sitting? In Shingon, our Buddha is sitting on a chair. Yeah? And why is he sleeping? Is he lazy? Yeah? But when you explain that, oh, this is the picture of Shakyamuni Buddha on his, on his deathbed, and there's so much symbolism in the picture. Yeah? And in Japan, around this, starting around this time, scrolls of depicting the death of Shakyamuni Buddha are brought out, and there's this whole story that they give. Yeah. And each you see the disciples of the Buddha, the bodhisattvas, even the animals, Shakyamuni Buddha's mother coming down from heaven with medicine so that he may live longer. There's this whole incredible story, and when I first went to Koyasan, my training on Mount Koya in Wakayama Prefecture in Japan, there's considered the oldest picture of that genre of what they call Nihanzu, the picture of depicting the death of Shakyamuni Buddha. And we got to see it in the museum, and at that time I wasn't too interested. Yeah. In fact, actually I wanted to go back to sleep. Yeah. But there's this picture of the disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha, and then they're crying, basically. They're wailing. Yeah? And the way it was painted, to me, it looked like they were laughing. Yeah? And and so the teacher, my sensei, goes, "Oh, what are they doing, right?" And so I honestly answered, "Oh, they're crying. Oh no, they're laughing." And he looked at me and he said in a very Japanese way, "Baka." And that was a long. That wasn't the first. That wasn't the first. That wasn't the last time I was called Baka on during my training. And I thought my last name was, my middle name was Baka. Yeah? But this whole story, but in religion, as was introduced, I was I got my degree in religion, and after I met in front of you, it wasn't because I was interested in religion that I got my religion degree. It was because I could graduate faster from the university. Yeah, that was the only thing. But in religion, especially, as you know, when you see in this world today, especially, they always tell, believe. You have to believe. What? You don't believe? Out. Yeah? But in Buddhism, as Reverend Higa had today, this morning, he read words of the Buddha. 네? And that comes from the Nirvana Sutra. 네? And again, I'll read it out to you, 네? And especially, and apparently there's different places in different sutras that say about the same thing. So this comes from a different sutra, and it says, bhikshus, dwell with yourselves as an island, with yourself as a refuge, with no other refuge, with the Dharma as an island, with the Dharma as a refuge, with no other refuge. When you dwell with yourself as an island, with yourself as a refuge, with no other refuge, with the Dharma as an island, with the Dharma as a refuge, with no other refuge, that basis itself should be investigated. Yeah? So the belief in Buddhism is not what I would call a blind belief. Yeah? We have the Dharma. Yeah? The Buddha didn't say, believe in it, but think about it, ponder on it. And in this case, probably doubt is very important. Yeah? Well, I don't know. I know last year, forgive me if I'm wrong, but last year was commemorated the 100th year of the founding of Jodo Shinshu. Yeah, and as you know, they had a large service in Japan. And I've talked to many priests, yeah, not only from Honganji Shinshu, but other, and then they've actually read Shinran's work, yeah, that started Shinshu, yeah, the Kyogyo Shinsho. Yeah? And they all had the same reaction when I asked them, goes, oh, so what did he say? And they all, Japanese went, it's too hard, it's difficult. Yeah. And it's not, again, for Shinshu, that's Shinran's Dharma. Yeah. But, they all went, and then, and they all said, oh, this is too hard, so I'm just going to throw it off on the side. Oh, I think I have to read this again. That's all they did, and, even in my case, the Dharma that was left by our founder, Kobo Daishi, it's not something that you read and that you understand. Yeah? This past year, I was auditing a class from the Koyasan University, and my friend is a retired professor from Koyasan, so he allowed me to audit a class, and that he was giving, and we covered text, and I would have to admit, very dry. If I wasn't priest, I wouldn't. It's very dry. It's not very entertaining. Very dry. Yeah. And very interesting. In the text, it actually says what Shakyamuni Buddha said over 2,000 years ago. We have here's the teaching, think about it, put into practice, try to understand it. Yeah. So it's this personal experience that is very important. It's not like Bishop Watanabe said so it's true. is what I'm saying true? Okay, then let's see. So throughout the Buddhist history and throughout the Buddhist world, teachers have said or encouraged their students to experience on your own what the Dharma means to you. But there is a saying especially in Japanese Buddhism, and I just found out, I was watching a YouTube video last night from Taiwan, and there's this phrase called, in Japanese, it's Jitomyo Hotomyo. Jitomyo, the light of the self. Hotomyo, light of the Dharma. And a lot of people that don't understand Buddhism at all will look at it and goes, well, whatever I say goes. What I think is the Dharma. But actually, in investigation, this Jitomyo, Hotomyo actually comes from what Reverend Higa had read out in the aspiration. Make the Dharma your light. You have yourself. I think in some translations it says, so you only can make your own salvation. I know in the Shin Buddhist tradition, there's the tradition of the Myokonin. And these were people that were basically illiterate. But what they said was very profound. And I was told that, I think it was from here, that there was one lady, and that Professor Daisetsu Suzuki, the great Zen scholar, had mentioned that, oh, she's like a myokonin, these wonderfully good people. And some of the stories are, very interesting. One of my favorite stories from the Myokunin actually is this one story of this man. He's walking down a country path, and on both sides of the path there's rice fields. If you went to Japan or watch samurai movies, they have the rice fields. And he was walking down this path, and from the opposite direction was these young boys. Yeah, as we say in Hawaii, they were kind of warubozu. Yeah, because they were laughing and stuff, and they see this old man, and what do? As they were passing that old man, they pushed him into the rice field. Yeah. Yeah. And then they walked off. And then people saw that and they ran to help this man, and they went, "You're all muddy." I go, "Yeah? You want us to go after those kids? Give them a good licking?" No. They went, "What?" And before I guess there's a punchline to this. What would you do if somebody sort of pushed you into the rice field and getting all muddy? I'm sure all of you, like me, if we were pushed into the rice field and get muddy, we'll get very angry. I'm gonna get them. What did this man say to the people helping him out of the rice field? A debt has been repaid from a previous life. Yeah? Talking about karma. Yeah? So it was his karma that he was pushed into the rice field, because maybe in a previous life that he did the same thing to those kids. Yeah? And then instead of continuing this negative karma, well, I repaid my karma, my evil karma from a previous lifetime. Yeah? So, those, it's like, wow. Very simple language, but very profound. That story, in fact, almost goes on the same lines as Honen, Shinran's teacher, and why Honen became a monk on Mount Hiei. Yeah? The story goes is that, the Honen's family was a samurai family. And one night, their mansion was attacked, and the father was mortally wounded. So the young Honen runs to the father and says, I'm going to get revenge, like the samurai movies. What did the father tell them? Oh yeah, go and kill him. Kill my attackers, then you'll be honorable. No? The father tells Honen, go to Mount Hiei and become a bonsang. Go to Mount Hiei and become a bonsang. So again, if you don't believe in reincarnation and all this stuff, and in some ways this has lessons for our lifetime too. What is going around in the world. Yeah? That if we continue this negativity, this hatred, it will never end. Yeah? And for me, this is what the Dharma what teaches me. Yeah? And I am not, for myself, I'm not just focused on the Shingon Dharma, but the other schools too. Yeah? Again, in our life, in our modern life, what is the addicting drug that we all have? It's on our phone. Hard to put down. My members in Honolulu and also in Pauilo will say, Sensei, you should just get a holder and put the phone, so it's just next to your ear like this. Yeah, but I tell them, if it's next to my ear, then I cannot look at it. Yeah? But what I've been finding out is, looking at Facebook, Instagram, all those other things, they do have teachers that are teaching the Dharma. Yeah? So those are times when, like if I'm at the airport, I can scroll and, oh yeah, instead of watching a cat video or something like that, yeah? I can look at, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah? So it's not only book study, like we got to sit down and read it. Yeah? We have many opportunities to feel, to learn, experience the Dharma of Shakyamuni Buddha. Yeah. So it's not, to me, it's not that difficult nowadays. Yeah. When I was a student at UH Manoa Religion, the joke was that to become a Buddhist scholar, you're going to have Coke bottom glasses, because you see all the Buddhist scholars, Japanese Buddhist scholars, they're looking at the text like this, with a magnifying glass, because the kanji print is like this small, yeah. Yeah? And you have to sit down and read it, and and whatnot. Nowadays, easy. Go on the internet, YouTube. So if you do look, there are resources out there. Yeah. And I must admit that even for myself, the amount of information can be overwhelming. Yeah. Yeah. We need time to rest. Yeah. But and another thing, another thought that came to my mind was that some people will say, well, Shinran didn't use a smartphone. Yeah. Or maybe 300 years earlier, Kobodaishi didn't use a smartphone. Of course, they didn't have a smartphone. But I would think, if they were alive today, they would use the medium to get their word across. Yeah. So the opportunities are there, the tools are there that we can make the Dharma closer to us. Yeah? But at the same time, we still need the Sangha. We still need Kona Honganji, Kona Koyasan Daishiji, my home temple, Honomu Henjoji mission. Because it's the Sangha that, that we can share our experiences from. Yeah? We need this collection of people, this gathering of people, yeah? Because that's how we can sort of, wow, you experienced that? Of course, we're not going to talk about it, but, we can share what our Dharma means to all of us, yeah? To you. Yeah? When I first came back from Japan, I was at, and this is going to show my age because I was at the Honolulu Airport, yeah, Honolulu International Airport, yeah. And this was a time when you actually could go to the gate, yeah. So it just shows how old I am, yeah. And because we're seeing off some people from our Honzan, yeah. And at the same time, the Honpa Honganji was seeing off their guests from Honzan. And one of the Honganji ministers that I knew looked at me and goes, are you leaving us? He goes, I don't know. Maybe, maybe I'll move to Japan. And he goes, no, you have to stay in Hawaii. Yeah? And it took me a long time to figure out what was he saying. Because he's Honganji, right? But when we all our temples thrive, when Buddhism thrives, we all receive the benefit. So the Sangha is also important too. Because this is where, again, of course, when we go home, hopefully, I encourage you, the Dharma, to thrive in your homes and with your neighbors, even if they're not Buddhist. But it is with the temples that the Dharma, I don't want to use the word oozes out, but comes out of. Yeah. So in that way, and I think it was the second bishop of the Honpa Honganji, Bishop Imamura, that says that each temple is the abodes of love and light. And I'll go even further that each Buddhist temple, whether they're Honganji or Soto Mission or Thai or Vietnamese or Chinese or whatever, are these abodes of light, love and light. So that in that way the Dharma will thrive, but it only can thrive if, again, we experience the Dharma. And that will deepen our belief. And we will again study again. So, it is sort of like a back and forth. We study the Dharma, it deepens our belief, and it goes around and around. And then and again, I touched on, the Sangha, but in the Shingon, why do we do this? Why do we do this? In the Shingon Buddhist tradition, we have what is known as the 5 vows. And you read as such: sentient beings are limitless, a vow to liberate them. Merits and wisdom are limitless, a vow to accumulate them. Dharma gates are limitless, a vow to serve them. A vow to learn them. The Tathagatas are limitless, a vow to serve them. Awakening, enlightenment is supreme, a vow to attain it. What, sentient beings, we're all sentient beings, so. And then the second one is, especially in Shingon, is very important. It goes, merits and wisdom are limited, a vow to accumulate it. It's not because we want to become rich. It's because sentient beings, when we lead sentient beings along the path, and we learn the Dharma gates, again, are limitless, they become Buddhas themselves. And we serve, again, it says, the Tathagatas, the Buddhas are limitless, a vow to serve them. So again, with that, something to think about. I'm not a school teacher. I'm not going to come back 1 year from now and goes, well, did you study? It's something that I encourage all of you to do. Again, thank you for having me this morning on this Nirvana Day service. And I hope to see you sometime in the future again. Thank you very much.
Is my mic working? There we go. Thank you for your message. Okay. Rochelle. Rochelle will lead us in the use and reading of the Eightfold Path to Happiness. Words can be found on the handouts and on the screen.
teachings of the Buddha help us to understand the oneness of all life. To lead us in the right direction, the Buddha provided us with the Eightfold Path. Right views, to keep free of prejudice and superstition and to see the true nature of life. Right thoughts, to turn our minds away from violence and hatred. Right speech, to refrain from harmful talk and to use our words wisely. Right conduct, to see that our deeds come from peace and goodwill, to grow every day in the Buddha's teachings. Right livelihood, to try to earn our living in such a way that we avoid causing suffering. Right energy, to use our energies to promote the overcoming of ignorance and destructive desires. Right mindfulness, to cherish a good mind, for all that we think and to do has its roots in the mind. Right meditation, to study the teachings of the Buddha and to practice them to the best of our abilities. May the presence of the Buddha, who said that he would live in his teachings, be our guide. May we follow this path until we too realize nirvana.
Thank you, Rochelle. We will now have the offertory presentation. Mahalo, everyone, for your kind generosity, which helps to sustain our temple. We will conclude this service with the singing of the Gata Nembutsu. Please rise. You may be seated. This concludes today's Nirvana Day service. Here are some announcements. Upcoming schedule of services, events, and reminders. Next Sunday, February 11th, regular Dharma family service will be held at 10 a.m. The following Sunday, February 18th, will be our annual Kyodan membership meeting and luncheon. At 10 a.m., we will start with short service in remembrance of Sangha members who have passed away last year, honor our Kerokai members who have or will reach the age of 80 in 2024, and welcome new members. The membership meeting will occur after the service, which will then be followed by a New Year's luncheon with Ono food, fellowship, and lots of prizes. To get a good head count for lunch, please register by Friday, February 19th by calling the office or clicking on the link and filling out the simple online form which was included in Reverend Blaine's email this past Friday. The 2024 Gatha Fest will be held on Sunday, February 25th at Hilo Betsuan at 9:30 a.m. It's an annual sharing of gathas by most temples on the Big Island. Konohonwanji Sangha will participate. Darren Katayama has written Dharma lyrics to John Cruz's island-style song, and our presentation will be accompanied by anyone wishing to play the ukulele. Please pick up printed information available at the front table. Also, a sign-up sheet for transportation will be circulated. Anyone wishing to attend, please be sure to sign up so transportation arrangements can be made. There will be no Sunday service here at the temple. Reminders. Be sure to open, read, and click on any attachments with interesting as well as useful links that were included with Reverend Blaine's weekly update email sent this past Friday. If you have not done so yet, please pick up your pre-ordered 2024 Honpo Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii's calendar at the church office. Extras are available. Free COVID test kits are still available in the conference room. Does anyone have any other announcements?
Want to thank Bishop Watanabe for joining us today and delivering such a wonderful message, just basically saying Dharma's all around us, not only in temple. So if we have that in our hearts and our minds, yeah, it will take us a long way. Also, in the Naijing with us is Reverend Miyazaki from Koesa. We all know him. He's always here visiting us. Welcome. And Bishop Watanabe brought his mother with him. Welcome, Ms. Watanabe. Thank you. Welcome to Konohonganji. Oh, and one more. We miss you, Reverend Blaine. See you next week.
Mahalo to Bishop Clark Watanabe for being our guest speaker today. Those of you on Zoom may leave at any time. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the conference room. Many thanks to Janet Linder, John and Shelley Tsue, and anyone else who brought goodies to share. We'll practice our Gatha Fest song during refreshments, so please sing along with us. Thank you all for joining us. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you at future services.